Okay, guys, we're back for another week of Trigger Points, and we got some. You surprised me, and you brought Macy,
Yes.
Mason,
Macy.
Macy
Yes.
Hamilton, and this is Clint. Clint, thank you so much. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Thank you for coming. Today we're gonna talk about what you can do for short-term rental, Airbnb, what you can do for people in that industry. So.
Absolutely.
You own Houston Furniture Rental and Sales, correct?
That's correct. Yep.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit how you got started in this business.
Yeah, it's kind of a long, winding road, I guess. Originally chemical engineer. So back A&M back in 2002, I guess, chemical engineer. Worked in Pasadena and Baytown, all the refineries. Worked for the big oil companies. Kind of, always want to kind of do my own thing. So I ended up actually leaving my oil and gas job probably about two years ago to try to find something because I knew I wanted to buy a business, and actually went into Houston Furniture to buy a desk. I was driving by on the way home and went in there to buy a desk for my home office so I can start searching for companies, and really liked the model. It's a rental model, a lot of the reading I've done and the whole business model of the rental aspect I was intrigued by. So, my wife was with me at the time. I was like, I'm gonna buy this business at some point, and just kind of joking. And then, talked to the owner, Dave Stedman. I don't know if you know him, but he's like, wasn't really interested, so I let it go. And then about 3 to 6 months later, I called him back. He's like, well, let's talk. He's looking to retire and spend some time with his wife. So went back in and we started having those discussions. I ended up buying the company in October of last year, so almost a year ago. So engineering background, went back and got my business degree in Chicago, and just kind of always wanted the entrepreneurial thing, and finally said, let's go do it. So,
Awesome. And we got to know how you got your start.
Yes. So I've been doing this a little bit longer,
Okay.
only 3 years. But I started doing this in Austin, Texas. So my mom is an interior designer.
Okay.
So she kind of got me into it. It's in my blood, I guess. But I worked there for a year and then moved to Houston, started my business here. And then we've been in a partnership with staging and Airbnb. So I do like the design side of it. They supply the furniture.
Okay. Cool. All right. So short-term rentals. I know there's a lot of people out there. A lot of people doing them right now. Let's talk first. Let's talk a little bit about staging. How important is that?
Yeah, I think it's incredibly important, especially in this market where things are starting to slow down a bit, and houses are going to sit in the market a little longer. Rising interest rates. You look back a couple of months ago, and maybe there wasn't as much value for staging. As soon as you put it on the market, it's gone.
Yeah.
Right. Now I think you need to stand out from the crowd. You need to differentiate yourself, and I guess kind of stepping back, without the industry knowledge that I had, I knew I had to partner with somebody that knew what they're doing and knew the industry well. And that's why, I'm so happy to have Macy working with me, because she does have that great design experience.
So you're sorry. So you're an actual designer. You don't actually work. Do you actually work for the company, or you're separate?
No, yeah. So they just contract me out to do all of the staging, and I'll go in, like, walk the property, and then get all of the product from Houston Furniture.
Okay. Got it. So staging. What percentage of y'all's business is staging, buys, sales versus rentals?
So I like to say, at least on the rental side, it's about a third. So about a third staging, a third residential rental. So just people coming in town that have an apartment for the summer, interns, or if they're here for a year trying to find a place to live, and a third corporate housing. So that's on the rental side. The staging piece is growing quite a bit. That's especially in the last several months, we're seeing, where stages would stay out for a week or two. They're staying out for 2 or 3 months now because it's taking a little bit longer to make that impression and make that sale. And then we're also doing, retail side as well. So, if you're not looking to do the rental piece of it, we can definitely source and provide furniture for purchase as well. And we've got access with wholesale pricing to over 40 vendors in the Houston and Dallas area that we have access to and pull from on a regular basis. So having inventory and stock is not an issue. We can turn a project around in as little as 7 to 10 days.
Cool.
That's full design.
Same here.
Install.
Turn a product around about 7 to 10 business days.
Right,
well, I know I've seen your product a couple of times. I've seen it in one of Ehab's. I think the Barbie.
It is a Barbie. Yeah.
That Barbie. Great design. Did you help on that?
Yes, I did.
Okay, awesome. So when kind of on short-term rentals, what's the benefit to renting the furniture versus buying the furniture?
I think it's obviously a cash flow issue. A lot of times with when you're doing a project, you got to set budget, and this is one of the things I wanted to be sure to mention is, when you're doing a project like this and you're remodeling and you're getting ready for a short-term rental, I think you need, and you're obviously on a budget, right? I think you need to bring somebody like Macy in up front early, right? Because you get to the end, you spend all your money on tiles and fixtures and all this stuff, and then you're at the end like, well, crap, I still have to furnish. I don't have any money left.
It happens all the time.
Right. So you bring somebody like Macy in who can say, instead of this $15 square foot tile, use this $5 square foot tile. Looks just as amazing. Save that for accessories, for furniture later on down the road. And not just for us. And obviously, that's a little self-serving, but you really need to make your property pop and stand out and differentiate yourself when you're advertising against your competition. So being able to be smart with your selections up front allows you to utilize your money a little bit better.
Yeah, and all of those things work together. So whenever we're talking about the design, it helps if I can come in on the front end so we can talk about the design as a whole, because sometimes people get so bogged down in the details of like, well, every single thing has to be unique, and then they blow their budget, and then it actually gets a little bit chaotic, because if your mirror is unique and your lighting and your tile and your countertops, then it's just a lot of money you've spent for a kind of chaotic result. So I can help on that end. And then we can also talk about furniture. So when we have that meeting, like we talk about everything.
So when do you get involved in the process? Is it like as soon as they're, dare say, break ground or start the rehab or renovation of the property? Or do you get involved like, okay, hey, you're in framing now, or you're in doing final finishes? When do you get involved?
So typically once framing begins would be a good time to bring me in. It really depends on, the timeline of the project, because especially right now, like it is hard to get product. So flooring, like some flooring is, back ordered for several months. So the sooner the better, just so we can start the conversation. We may not be like making final selections, as soon as possible, but if we can start that conversation, it really helps.
Okay. So typically you go in and design the whole project for them as far as what to pick, what not to pick, colors, tile, flooring, all of that, correct?
Yeah, I've done both. I mean, I've definitely had projects where I've come in once everything's complete and we're just talking furniture. I've come in, when they have furniture and we're just talking accessories and drapes. And then I've come in when it's just a concrete slab.
Okay. Well, I guess where we need to kind of take this conversation is, how many people have you helped in the short-term rental aspect?
Yeah, so like I said, I bought the business in October, and it's really started blowing up on the short-term rental side. And I'd say we've probably done 12 to 16 in the past 11 months. So we're doing 1 or 2 a month. And it's really starting to pick up. We did, like you mentioned, we did EHABs, which is a 16 unit place. So we've done that.
Looked great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Macy did a great job on that. We've done several in Galveston, and we've got several coming up the next several weeks too. So we've always kind of got several of them in the queue, and depending on where they are in the process, we're ordering furniture, getting ready for that. I think the key is, also when you start talking about, why do we need to start thinking about this up front is, you're going to either spend time or you're going to spend money doing this, right? And so how much is your time worth? Do you really want to be out searching all the different retail stores in Houston for furniture and maybe end up with something that's not a cohesive design, where we'll take it off your plate, we'll come in, install it in one day, and you'll be done. You can spend your time making money and build your business.
A lot of investors will say this: time is one of the most assets that you can't get back. I mean, you could spend a ton of money on a project, but spend way too much time on it, and that will cost you more money over a long period of time.
Yeah, you should be out there building your business instead of picking accessories.
Like if I can, I mean, I tell my wife this all the time. If I can get somebody else to do something that I don't want to do, especially around the house, and it gives me more quality time with you, or more quality time with working on growing jet lending, then I'm definitely going to have somebody else come in and say, hey, let me handle this,
Right.
So,
and I'm guilty of that same thing at home, right?
Yeah.
I can build a fence myself, or I can, pay somebody to do it. And like I said, spend time with my kids, or do something else that's more valuable.
I mean, that's the one thing that most people don't realize is time is the only commodity there's no more of. I mean, once you run out of it, hey, you're either going to out age yourself, or just time's going to go on to where you if you waste it, the opportunities are gone. So
Yeah, and the time and the aesthetic is really important as well,
Yeah.
because especially with Airbnb, like it's growing, so there's now competition. So people are scrolling through looking at the photos. So if yours don't stand out or have like that
you
professional
gotta have
look,
that wow.
they're gonna scroll right past you.
You gotta have, and that's what a lot of people don't. Not saying a lot of people, but there's a few Airbnb or short-term rental owners out there that don't understand why their unit is not performing, or their units are not performing. It's because they don't have a wow factor for it. It's not
Right.
like, you've got to figure out, well, what is this unit doing that I'm not doing, or what is this unit that I have that or vice versa. And I think that's a unique aspect to hire a designer and hire a furniture outlet like this to come in and say, hey, let us take that headache away from it.
Right. Yeah, and make sure it's a nice cohesive look when you're done, right? We've got the benefit of scale. We've got, like I said, 40 vendors. We've got our own moving crews. We've got, Macy and her team that can make sure they're picking the right selections. And, basically it's taking the time off their plate. Macy spends some time with her up front, understanding what kind of design they're looking for. She can provide the design boards and walk through various options, and then kind of turns it over to us, and we do the whole sourcing, supply, assembly, install, everything. And so, there's several weeks leading up to it, but then day of install, we're in and out within 24 hours. Maybe we're there the next day to kind of tidy up some loose ends, but you're ready to go and get it on the market.
Okay. So when I met y'all at the Prosperity event, y'all were very nice. Tell me, what other events do y'all go to? I mean, just.
Yeah, so I'm trying to kind of network, and like I said, I'm new to the industry, so I'm trying to network into the industry myself. We do the Houston Real Producers.
Okay.
We've gone to a couple other events. I need to get in with EHAB and kind of maybe visit with some of the students. We talked about that a little bit. So just trying to get stuff like this, get our name out there and let people know that. And that's what I said last night at the Prosperity event is, they introduced us as Houston Furniture Rentals, and we're a lot more than that,
Yeah.
and we need to maybe
Let's talk
figure
about
out how to do that.
Let's talk about that. What does that mean? You say you're a little bit more than that. Let's dive into every little detail that.
Yeah, so I think if you read Houston Furniture Rentals, you think court furniture or something like that, where it's Buffett's big conglomerate where he's just throwing out furniture to corporate housing, and people don't get much say in what they're getting, and it's just a bunch of drab corporate stuff. I think where we differentiate ourselves is we do have that nice design element where even if for a residential short-term 3-month rental or something, we're gonna have somebody like Macy, if it's not her, picking out everything that matches, nice artwork, nice rugs, everything that goes together. It's not a corporate mishmash that you get set up with. So I think that's where we kind of stand out, right? So we're never going to compete with court on scale or price point, because they can just get in and buy everything they want. So that's where we differentiate. Customer service, right? We like to pride ourselves if on the staging side, if a realtor calls, I need this in 3 days. All right, give us a little more time, but we'll make it happen. And they don't, like I said, let them work on their business, let them go, sell more houses. We'll get it staged for you. Just give us the lockbox code. We'll come in, get it set up. And, you're there to take pictures the next day and get it on the market. So I think differentiating ourselves based on our design, aesthetic, customer service, we're here to help you, add value. So let you run your business, and we'll kind of do turnkey for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also think another unique thing about us is like on the staging side, when I brought my business to Houston, like the Austin and Houston market are so different. So it was interesting to see like kind of how staging works here. And one of the things I saw is that really people only felt the need to stage the luxury high-end homes, like the $1 million plus, and staging was so expensive. So we have made a point to be able to stage, like we want to stage every single home at every single price point, and having the furniture and being able to, price accordingly so that we can accommodate every single listing has been a really cool thing that most stagers aren't able to do.
Now, are y'all both locally just here in Houston, or can you go outside the Houston area? I mean, what areas do you cover? If you got people in Galveston, do you go there? What's kind of your
Our core area is Houston. I know Macy does a lot of work in Austin, and we'll probably start getting some more work there in the near future as well. But I think it's on a case by case basis for corporate rentals. We've gone as far as New Mexico, as far as New Orleans,
Okay.
for a long term 12, 15-month commitment, right? If it makes sense. Our core area is definitely Houston area, but all the way down to Galveston, all the way up to the Woodlands and Conroe. So
Now I have to ask this question: like, how much of your business is in Galveston? Like, I mean, is that where your core of your business?
No. I mean,
Okay.
it's on the periphery. I mean, we've done, I think, 3 Airbnbs there. But you know, it's one of those things. It's if we can provide the right product and the right value, you know, really the only difference between us doing it and somebody else, other than our scale and our access to vendors, is the shipping cost to get from Houston down to Galveston, and that's a one-time thing. So
Yeah.
if you're looking at a long-term investment and putting your money into this property and trying to get the best bang for your buck, one-time shipping cost is not going to, it's probably the right thing to do.
So is it like a press print? Like is there? I'm assuming there's different cost for, like, there gold scale, silver, bronze, or something like that.
Yeah, I think like Macy said. So if you've got a $300,000, going back to staging, if you got a $300,000 house, it's going to be kind of a plug and play. Let's get something in there so people can have a vision of where everything's going to sit. If you've got a $1.5 million house on Crestwood, it's going to be a little different, right? It's going to take, so standard stage is, 3 rooms, a living room, dining room, and primary bedroom, right? A small 2,000, 1,500, 2,000 square foot house, that's perfect, right? You just want to kind of give people the vision of, how they can live there and maybe kind of distract from some of the features of the house that aren't perfect. A bigger house, we're going to stage the game room or the theater room or another guest bedroom or an office, just kind of fill it out so it doesn't look so empty. But yeah, as far as Airbnb, it's really a conversation with the designer, Macy, and the investor. What are you looking for? Are you looking kind of a simplistic minimalist look, or you want to go full accessorized? Is there a theme you want going for? And we can kind of customize it based on that. So it's definitely not a plug and play rubber stamp type thing. It's customized based on what the investors looking for. So
yeah, every home is different, and depending on how many they're wanting to sleep as well, because I know that's huge with Airbnb, is being able to accommodate their perfect number.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk through those options, and then there is kind of like a scale of the type of furniture. Like if you're wanting something that's like like a tufted sofa that has a really designer look, that's obviously going to be a little bit more than just a standard sofa. So once we start talking style and design, I'll throw out prices of, okay, here's like sofa A or sofa B, here's what they look like, here's the different price points, so I can kind of gauge them at that point. And we can do it that way. Or sometimes people will come in and be like, I have $25,000, and then I will show them what we can do with that.
Okay. A lot of people, and Alex and I were talking about this when he found out y'all were coming up, and we just kind of discussed it prior to this. A lot of people don't realize what the cost is on furnishing an Airbnb. They're like, oh, hey, look, I got it built. Now what do I do? And knowing those costs going into the project is very, very important. That way you can, over that year or 6 months or 8 months or 9 months, you can say, hey, look, maybe I don't put, like you said, maybe I don't put the best granite, the best tiles, maybe scale it back a little bit, best flooring, something that still looks good,
right,
but it's durable, it's efficient, it will last a long time. And at the end of the day, I'm saving money so that, hey, I've got money on the back end of this to bring your team in, or if they choose to do it themselves. I mean, I personally would not want to go in and furnish a whole 5, 6, 18 unit apartment complex, Airbnb, whatever.
You'd be assembling furniture for weeks.
Yeah, it would take a long time.
And that takes, so hey, the project's finished, right? You've got everything painted, everything looks good. Now you got to get furniture in there. And if they hire you, look, y'all can get it done in 7-10 days, right? If you're putting furniture together till 3-4 o'clock in the morning, it may take you 7 to 10 days of manpower just to get it put together. And now
not even counting sourcing and moving furniture and getting it all there. So
Right.
Yeah.
That's why it's really important to bring us in as soon as possible so that we can help people prepare and budget for what the furniture is going to be and save costs accordingly. And honestly, like doing it yourself, because, like the average person's going to have to pay retail for items. You can get it done relatively close to the same cost doing it through us because we have wholesale vendors. So in the places where we can save you money, our cost isn't going to exceed what it would be doing it yourself.
Cool. So you mentioned something a little bit earlier about the difference between Austin and Houston as far as the markets. So I kind of want to get your perspective on that. What do you think the significant difference is? Is it higher cost in Austin than it is in Houston?
Oh, yes. The cost of living in Austin is crazy. That's why I'm in Houston.
Yeah.
But yeah, that really has been kind of always that way, but especially recently, like with all of the growth in Austin. I mean, every time I go back, it's just feels like a different city.
Lake Travis is like, I mean, that whole area.
except the water level, it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? Back, my niece got married up there, and that whole area is like around the lake.
Mhm.
It's just crazy how many homes have boomed up out there. And you just come up on these like little villages, and you're like, wow, that's amazing.
It's
And they're nice too.
Yeah.
a lot of Airbnb opportunities out there. There's this place we stayed, and it was just a look. I mean, I dare say it was a cabin, but it was a bedroom. It was kind of like a little mini hotel room, and they had like hundreds of them, just little cottages.
Yeah.
And you had a key to get in, and it was so unique. And I was like, man, I wonder how much this costs. And I was asking one of the guys that actually owned a couple of them. He said it's $500,000. I was like, what? It was so
Sounds
crazy.
about right.
Wow.
I was like, and I'm telling you, the room, it was just a room and a bathroom,
Crazy.
and it was $500,000. I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, it's interesting.
No kitchen.
Yeah.
It just had a little kitchenette thing, like with a microwave. And I'm like, man, that's incredible. But he said these things stay rented.
My in-laws have a place on Lake Travis, and they rent out their lower kind of apartment down there, and stays rented. It's enough to pay their mortgage. And luckily, they got into this house, 6-8 years ago before it really took off. So they've got a good price basis. But yeah, they rent it out, and there's a whole house next to them that's 3-story, 3,500 square foot house, and it stays rented too.
Did you furnish those?
That was before I was in the business.
Didn't get the opportunity.
I've got them a couple mattresses and stuff.
Okay.
But, yeah. So
Well, you should go and tell them, say, hey, look, that furniture's outdated.
Yeah.
time to refresh. Yeah.
It's time to refresh. So, back over here. So you were saying that the Austin market is more expensive, but which one do you think is more favorable to investors? Is it Austin, Houston? What do you think?
I would say Houston. I mean, Austin, especially a couple of months ago, like you couldn't even get your hands on anything because homes were selling before they even hit the market. I had so many homes sell like for $100,000 over asking cash offers. So it was like, it's just really hard to even get your foot in the door there. So I feel like Houston, Houston's a bigger city. So there's just more opportunity here, period, which is a big reason why I did move my business here. I still, have my Austin branch and love working there, but you kind of hit your ceiling a little bit quicker than you do here in Houston.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts as far as, what do you think? I know you're primarily in Houston. What do you think your hot areas in Houston are as far as short-term rentals?
Medical center.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to, when we have a new customer, I'm trying to figure out, who you're targeting, who your rental's going to, so I can kind of understand that as well. But a lot of the med center, a lot in East downtown, kind of over by Ekiev's place, there's a lot of renovation going there. So, I don't have any properties anymore, and I've never done the Airbnb investment side, the short-term side, but I did have 15 to 20 rental properties in College Station over the past years that I actually sold.
That's a good area too.
Yeah, no, it's good. Student housing, they kind of tear stuff up, and you just have to build that into your model. But so I've got a little bit of experience on the investment side. I think what everybody tells you is, you got to buy when there's blood on the street, right? So if the market's slowing down and you got some cash available, in the next couple of months, next year, so I think there's gonna be some opportunities to get in on. And
it's only going to create more opportunities for investors right now.
Right.
The retail boom is I would say is going to slow, and the investor boom is just going to happen, or it's happening already.
Right.
Like there's more opportunities because the retail side's slowed down, that you can get properties at a bigger discount, saying, "Hey, look, you're not going to get this."
Exactly.
I guess let me ask this question: where do you see the future of your company going? What would you like to grow into other cities? I mean, what do y'all see? What do y'all see the future looking like?
I think there's definitely a possibility to grow in other cities, but I think there's enough here that we've got a lot of work to do here, right? So I'm a kind of a process business guy, so I'm kind of focused on getting our process set up so we are healthy and we can scale, right? Because there's a lot of potential here, so I want to make sure that we're doing things flawlessly, we can execute well, keep everybody happy, and deliver a good product, and then focus on scaling and investing in the business to do that. But I think, like I mentioned, Houston Furniture Rental Sales, we're a lot more than that. So how do I rebrand to let people know that? Is it a different staging brand? Is it something, on the design side that kind of evokes that a little bit better, and keep the, Houston Furniture Rental side that's, kind of ties more into the residential and the corporate side, but maybe, have a different brand under our umbrella that focuses on the design and staging and Airbnb, stuff like that. So
that'd be a good opportunity for you, huh?
Yes. Yeah. We've had these discussions a lot, just kind of like, where is the opportunity? And I think Airbnb definitely, like, continuing to do that and scale that, as well as staging, and then even residential redesigns is something that I have been doing and that we've started doing together, which is, someone who either bought a new home or wants to freshen up, like, we can provide all the furniture and design services for that as well.
So now I have to ask an obvious question. Where do y'all get y'all's furniture from? If that's a question you can answer.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we've probably got 30 or 40 vendors. So all the major retailers that you buy from, we can get from the same vendors, right? At wholesale pricing. So
Gallery and all that stuff.
They all buy from the same places.
Okay.
Right. Difference is, they've got the marketing in the big store, and their probably margins or markups are 40, 50%, right? So furniture markups are generally pretty crazy, right? And so I think what we'd like to do is, source these vendors and provide some more value on the design side and kind of roll it all together. Maybe take a little bit of a haircut or not as much margin on the furniture side and provide the value in the design aspect of it. So, but Four Hands, Happy Homes, Coaster, Crown Mark, all the local ones here, and then there's several in Dallas that we pull from, some in Austin. So I mean, lots of vendors to choose from.
It's very interesting, and not to insult anybody. You can have a beautiful home, and you walk in it, and it's like,
you're like, what happened here?
What happened to your house? I go in several homes, and I've seen several homes, and I've seen several projects that have been finished. And I'm like, you did all this nice stuff, and this is what you're putting in here? Yeah. And it just like, well, I would never say that to them out loud, but you're sitting there thinking like, what are you doing? Like, you need help here.
That's a big reason why our staging has kind of like turned into redesign services, because we'll come in, stage a home, whether it's occupied or vacant. Someone falls back in love with their home again, and they're like, hey, will you come help me with the next one?
Yes.
So it really, like, those two things really go hand in hand, the staging and the redesign.
Yeah. I'm not bragging on my wife or anything, but there's people in our neighborhood that have actually asked her. She's really crafty and stuff. Like she does football themes and stuff like that. And the people will come over like for barbecues and stuff. Hey, can you come to our house? And like, she's not out for hire. She just does.
Just give them my number.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll give them your number. Now that I know that you do this, and I was like, hey, you know what? I know a guy. I'm known on the street as Rob knows a guy. So it literally all my neighbors call me, hey, look, my sprinkler system went. I got a guy.
You're a good guy to know.
Yes, everybody calls me and say, hey man, my sprinkler system. What was that guy's name? I'll shoot it to him. Oh, hey man, my electricity's gone out. What? Call this guy. So now I've got one more in my hat. Hey, my house looks like shit. Who do I call?
I love it.
So, and that probably will happen. I mean, there's probably people that will watch this and say, "Hey, what was those guys? Hey, go watch the YouTube. There's a lot more information on there."
Yeah, and then check out both of our Facebook and Instagram. All of our stages go up there, so you can see the type of work we do and get a feel for.
What's your Instagram handle?
That's a good question. I should have known that before.
So his is Houston Furniture Rentals,
Houston Furniture.
and mine is Sensible Redesign.
Sensible Redesign.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Is it? I guess it's that. I'm not an Instagram person. It's at Houston. Okay.
I'm not either, obviously. So
I'm not. Like my wife's like, you got to start marketing. He tells me this too. You got to start marketing on Instagram. I said, I can't figure it out. Just now, I figured out how the stories look. Like you can put links and stuff like on photos, and I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, what was yours?
Sensible Redesign.
Sensible Redesign. So if any Instagram lovers out there, which everybody is, TikToks. Hey, let's talk about that.
I can't talk about that.
We're not there yet.
Hey, you got to. I'm telling you, you got to get there.
I'm trying to keep my kids off of it, but
keep your kids off of it. But I'm telling
but you get on it.
But you get on it. I'm telling you, y'all are missing it. Like Gary V, everybody's saying it. If you want to start a business and you want to grow it,
Yep.
TikToks, little 30-second videos. I mean,
I got a question.
Okay.
I want each of you guys. There has been one, because what I'm hearing both of you guys say is you guys are problem solvers. And in the biggest part of business, problem solver is worth millions.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me like your biggest problem you guys solved. One each. And like tell me like from soup to nuts. This person came to me with this problem. We worked with them on financing, or we worked with them on this. This is what we packaged for them. They weren't getting anything done with this stuff. Tell me how you guys solved like your biggest problem case.
Okay. You go
I'll have to
first.
think about that.
Okay, you got one?
I see. I think a particular one. I think for us, it's getting things done on a timely manner and on a budget as well. So. We just did an Airbnb install on Tuesday, and we're able to do. How big was that house?
Oh, probably like 3,000 square feet.
Yeah, and we were able to get it all done in one day for under 20 grand, fully furnished and accessorized. So being able to do that and be able to kind of jump through hoops and make something work and get it done quickly, so the investor can get it on the market.
Mm-hmm.
For me, from my viewpoint is I know what I do well, and I know what I don't do well. That's why I brought somebody like Macy in to handle all the design stuff.
Absolutely.
I'm a process guy, so I bought the company 10 months ago. I'm an engineer. My biggest problem, my biggest hurdle I'm working on is getting an inventory system in place so I know what is going on. I know what's where, and we're not making mistakes on deliveries. We're not forgetting something. And then get it all uploaded to the website so people can see what our inventory is. They can check, select from that. So that's my biggest goal over the next couple of months is get that streamlined and, have a better presence from a, behind the scenes standpoint. Because I mentioned, rebranding and going all these different markets, but really the consistent key behind that is the infrastructure. So we're several companies in one. We're warehousing, we're moving, we're furniture assembly, we're design, we're inventory management. So I got to make sure all that's in order and operating flawlessly before I can expand and go in different markets. So that's kind of my focus on making sure that's tidied up.
Okay.
Yeah, I think timelines definitely has been, we have so many stories about people calling like, hey, can you stage this house tomorrow? I have photos the next day. You're like, sure. So I know as y'all know, like with real estate, everything is about like timeline. So being able to accommodate that has been one of our strengths, but also is a big hurdle a lot of times. But one story in particular is I had an agent who I've worked with for several years, and she called me and she had not seen the home. I was the first one to see it, and dogs had just like trashed the house. The homeowner had like lost her husband recently. So just a really bad situation. But they were unable to like get the home sold, obviously, because of the conditions of it. So we came in, moved all of her stuff out with our team, like spent a whole day there. I had professional cleaners come in. I was down like scrubbing grout, getting it prepared. And then we staged it, and it actually sold in 24 hours.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's always, I think we both love our customers and like want, you know, like your home is such a personal thing. So being able to like have success stories or have someone fall back in love with their home, you know, is like really important to us. So it's all about, I mean, the homes obviously, but also the people.
Our first answer is always, you know, if you can you do something? Yes. And then we try to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Right. We very rarely say no. And, you know, we don't do something that doesn't make sense that, you know.
You sound a lot like me. I mean, Alex asked this question, and I'm literally trying to do the Rolodex of problem solving. It's every day that you have to go in and approach somebody that's got an issue or a problem. I will tell you the one that sticks out the most in my brain right now. It's about a year ago. Client called me. Client that has used Jet Lending several times. He called me and said, Rob, my lender backed out. And instead of me getting kind of a chip on my shoulder and asking him, well, why are you going to a different lender?
Mm-hmm.
I just said, what do I need to do?
Yeah.
He said, we have to close this tomorrow.
Oh, goodness.
I said, okay, let's get it done.
Wow.
And he did a testimonial, but literally I had to drop everything I was doing, put all other customers to the side, and focused on him. And once we were done, he said, I promise you I'll never go any other place. And he hasn't since then that I know of. But I think being the problem solver for people and being that person that can get things done that no other person could do or no other person was willing to do. So most people would be like, I'm not, you went to another lender. I got a chip on my shoulder. I'm not, you got to put your personal feelings aside, which is, it can be hard in this industry. You know, you get customers call you, chew you out, bitch you out. You're not moving fast enough. You know, at the end of the day, you're trying to do the best you can, and keeping them informed is probably the most challenging thing in this industry that I think we at Jet Lending, and it sounds like you guys do too, keeping the client informed of what's going on and how the process is moving, and continue to keep them informed during the process will ease a lot of anxieties in anything you do. And having processes in place that say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how we do it. Here's a reminder on what we need. And if you have those processes in place and people trust you and they know, hey, I know I'm going to get followed up with. I know I'm going to get this from Jet Lending or from your company as well. I think that's powerful stuff.
Yeah. And that's one thing Clint does really well. Like, you know, even when the processes are in place and you do everything perfectly, sometimes customers just change their mind or like, oh, I thought you said this. And so they have done a really good job of like, you know, always like customers always right and doing what you need to do to accommodate them, even if it does, you know, put a wrench in our day or make it difficult for us, you know, like always delivering and making sure the customer's happy at the end of the day.
Yeah. Customer being happy is really all that's important.
Yeah, and you want to learn from your mistakes, and you know, if I make the mistake once, what do I need to do to make sure I don't do it again? You know, is it something that I missed and I'm not communicating well? You know, do we need to ask questions up front to make sure expectations are aligned? You know, and understanding that. And for me, it's been obviously drinking from a fire hose over the past 11 months, trying to learn the industry and learn a new business and figure out how I put those processes in place. We are more efficient, so. Steady process, but you know, getting there.
Yeah. So we talked about the future. Where do you see the real estate market headed right now? I always have to ask this question. Right? Are we in doomsday, or you think no?
I don't think it's doomsday. I think it's going to be a slowdown. I think that, you know, it depends on what side of the market you're on. If you're a retail or a homeowner and thinking you're going to get top dollar, you're probably not going to do that now. But if you're an investor, I think there's a lot of opportunity for you.
Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, coming back and to what we do, I think it's going to be a lot more for me personally, for my business. I think it's going to be good because I think staging is people are going to realize the importance of it.
Well, I mean,
in this market, you know, so.
It's been around for a while.
So
it's getting more prevalent. Now, one question to both of y'all: do y'all do digital staging?
we don't. We don't, and a lot of people do, and I think there's probably some value to that in the lower price point homes. But when you have a open house, a lot of sales are done with open houses. People can see it when you go through on the MLS listing.
Might be another tool to put in your toolbox, though.
So I put a lot of thought into that actually. And one reason why I don't like it is because, the photos online look great, but when they come to see it in person, it's kind of a letdown because there's nothing to scale the room. So vacant rooms actually look smaller. And then like Clint mentioned earlier, like every little imperfection they're going to notice or anything that's outdated. So I kind of have steered away from that because sometimes the cost is very similar for virtual staging as it is for real estate.
Houses look so much smaller when there's nothing in them for some reason. And then you start filling them with stuff. Oh, well, this open this room up big time. Especially
if it's a unique space where it's not shaped normally. You don't know what you want to do here. You got to have somebody to help you with that vision on, okay, this is how I can live in this spot.
Yeah. Staging is all about directing and kind of distracting the eye. So like when we stage a home, it's all about like walking in from the front door, like where are we going to lead the buyer? What room are they going into first? What are they going to look at first? Show off any unique features to the home. Like if there's a beautiful fireplace, we want to make sure that that's the first thing you see when you walk in.
Cool. Well, guys,
I have a selfish question.
Okay.
Because when you're in this industry, investors love a deal.
Yeah.
Well, do I have to stay? Can I call you guys to furnish my own home?
Oh, absolutely.
And have you guys done anything like that?
Yeah.
Because,
all the time.
Investors love deals, and so they can come to you guys to furnish anything.
Right, and like I said, we like to pride ourselves on being a turnkey solution for you, and we get a lot of customers from former investors that we've done a stage and like, all right, like Macy said, come design our house now. We also have a lot of home buyers that love the furniture that's in the house and they want to buy it what's in the stage, right? So, but yeah, I think that's
that actually happened to me.
Yeah.
No, I swear it did. Like first house I bought in Houston, I had all this furniture and blah blah blah. They said we want everything and the furniture. I was like, okay. I was like, I'll give you certain stuff, but I'm not giving you all of it. And they're like, what will you give us? It's perfect. And I did it myself, and I'm like, okay, tell me what you want. And we made a deal. And so anyways, it's crazy what people will ask for when they're buying houses.
Yeah, no, but I think there's a lot of value in bringing somebody like Macy in that has that design expertise and can pull your vision. Because for me as an engineer, my wife's an engineer too, I know what I like. I can't get there. You show me something, I'll tell you I like it or not. But I can't go out and pick items. So
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I'm the same way.
That's great. That's why I have a job.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can go pick it out and know what I like and say, okay, yeah, but I don't know where to put it. That's what my wife's for. She knows where to put it.
Yeah, but to answer your question, we've done a ton of projects like that. Like I've done so many of my agents' homes that have called me for staging. The big projects are obviously the bulk of what we do, but I've even gone like shopping with people just to help them pick out furniture. I've done like a move-in service where we use like all of their stuff, and I just showed them like how to arrange it, where to put it. So it's always like, oh, can y'all do this? I'm like, sure.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a unique aspect that a lot of people have. Like I said earlier, no offense to anybody, people know how to buy a nice house, but they don't know how to put the things in it to make it a home. And once you get to that, once you can get to that point, it makes it exciting to just come home every day because you're in a place that there's so much crazy stuff going on. Well, you need a place to escape to, and when you got a nice place to escape to, it makes it that much better. Yeah. So.
And it adds value too. And we always, when we're talking agents through potentially staging a house, we want to make sure it stays through the appraisal process too, because that does make a difference when you're getting an appraisal and you're trying to meet a certain number. It's going to appraise higher if it looks better and it's set up correctly.
So let's talk more about that as far as the appraisals. Like we battle this a lot as far as importance of appraisals. I want you to dive a little bit more. Why is a furnished home? Why would you think it would appraise higher?
I'll let Macy answer that one.
Yeah, so appraisers are human. So just like when a buyer walks in and, maybe a dated home is staged with really updated furniture and art and accessories, you have that feeling like a buyer does of, oh, wow, this is such a nice home. So, I mean, it shouldn't affect it, but it
Right,
does.
subconscious to some degree.
Yes. So they're going to come in and have the same experience that any potential buyer would have. So having, the furniture, art to update it, kind of distract from maybe more dated floorings. I mean, it's bad to say it, but it does. I've seen it happen so many times.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is a nice place.
Mhm.
I'm gonna, because when they go back to their computer and they're sitting down as an appraiser. I mean, I'm not one, but I kind of I've talked to enough of them and got some friendships. They sit at a computer and they look at pictures online based upon the comparables, and in their brain, oh, that doesn't look as nice as this one looks as nice. So this one might have sold for higher, So at the end of the day, you got an appraisal that comes in that's, maybe 10, 15,000 higher based upon the way it looks, And at the end of the day, that can benefit you on refinancing. That can benefit you on sale. That can benefit you on all of that.
Absolutely. So spend a little bit up front to stage it for an extra month for the appraisal piece of it too. But we've also, offer comes in, we love it. We're accepting the offer and get the furniture out of here, get it out of here. Okay. Offer fell through. We got to bring everything back again, and then you're starting all over. You spend that money again. So keep the furniture in there, keep it staged, keep it looking great until you're at the finish line and appraisal's done and you're ready to close. Give us time. Don't tell us you're closing tomorrow and come get it, because that throws a wrench in things too. Because we have had that happen quite a bit too. Because we're scheduling a week or two out. So if a closing date's coming up, let us know. We'll make sure we get it picked up before then. But keep it in there until the process is over the finish line for sure.
Yeah, probably don't call them the day that you're signing your final closing disclosure. And,
Right.
hey, can you come get the furniture out? Because they take possession in 5 minutes.
Yep.
It
has happened.
That happened this week. Hey, we're closing tomorrow. Oh, all right, cool.
Maybe that's one of the big problems we solved.
Yeah. So.
Well, hey, it happens all the time. Like, I know a friend of mine's closed on a house, and he thought it was empty, and he went back. He got the keys in hand, went in there. The whole house is full of stuff, and he's like, he called me. He's like, Rob, what do I do? I'm like, call him, tell him, go get the stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, well, technically anything that's left in the house is mine. I was like, don't be that guy.
Technically, yes.
Right.
I was like, don't be that guy. Just tell them to come get their stuff. That's life.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, okay. I was like, you got to make a right decision and call the agents, let them know, hey, they left this stuff behind, because they don't know. They might have thought the movers got it, or they got delayed and weren't able to get there. So
right.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you got to do the right thing. So, well, hey, thanks, guys. Thank y'all for coming on the show. How do we get in contact with you?
Yeah, www.houstonfurniturerentals.com. Phone number is 713-983-0833. You can find us on Facebook, on Instagram at Houston Furniture Rentals, apparently. So we're out there. You can get a hold of us. Well, yeah.
And how do they get a hold of you?
So my website is itssensible.com, and then my cell phone number is 512-630-7656.
Oh, that 512 number. That's
I know.
That Austin. So everybody, how you can get a hold of me here at Jet Lending, www.jetlending.com. Phone number 903-806-4400. We're always here to answer any questions. Got to talk. Thank y'all both for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. Especially, I told you I was going to get you on the show because, and me and Alex have been trying to get this thing back going well, I had a baby. Anyways, long story short, we
you look good, Fred.
I did. So she's 5 months old.
Aww.
And everything's healthy. So we got no more like major doctor's appointments and all that stuff. So we're like, all right, let's start kicking it back off. But next week we got Derek Long coming on. So tune in for that. If you're watching or see this today, tune in for that. He's going to talk about the Quest Expo coming up this month. Are y'all vendors at the Quest Expo?
I think I just ran into him last night, potentially.
Yeah.
No, I need to go check it out, though.
Yeah, maybe an opportunity for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm learning new areas to get a name out there.
Get a hold of Derek Long, give you his information right after this. They may or may not have an opportunity for you.
Absolutely.
But thank y'all both for coming on. It was very informative. I think our guests are that will watch this and we'll blast it out again and make sure that everybody knows how to get in touch with you. But that's all the time we got this week. And we thank everybody for watching. Thank y'all both for coming.
Yes, thank
If y'all ever
you.
need
Appreciate it.
anything, we're here for you.